Hi, this is Kathi Quinn with Floriani. Floriani is a division of R&K Distributing, and I hope you enjoyed this last week, your 4th of July. I hope everything was fantastic. Now, my grandson was playing in the Little League World Series, and I realized that I did not have a shirt. You know, Grandma's got to have the shirt. So I very quickly wanted to make me a shirt. Their team name is the Dragons, but the font they use is from the Detroit Tigers. So I brought up my Craft and Cut software and I went to the internet and I typed in Detroit Tigers font SVG because I need an SVG font, because what I decided to do is I would cut heat transfer vinyl and quickly make me a shirt. So I went to Detroit Tigers logo and it says it's got an SVG vector file, so I'm going to grab that. And as this comes up, that's exactly what I need. Now, what you need to look at here, though, is because I'm just starting to put my feet in the waters where I'm going online and getting stuff that's free so I can cut. If you notice, they're trying to offer you a free Mac PDF reader, so it looks like you need to download this to get this font. You do not. Skip on down. Same thing, gives you the same offer. But when we get to the bottom, it says, hey, you want to download these? So now when I go to download, and this downloads, it's going to put it up in my downloads. It's going to give me a folder. Let me open this folder. And in this folder, I want you to notice I have the SVG files that I need. So don't get sucked in on all those download the PDF program free or whatever. Just keep scrolling till you get to where you need. So, okay, I've got those now. So I'm going to close this and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to File, Open. Now the nice thing is now in Craft and Cut is you don't have to say File, Import Artwork, or Export Artwork anymore. With the update that's been done in this program, it recognizes whatever you're looking for. Used to we had to open a design, but we import artwork. Now that is still true in Floriani software, but in the Craft and Cut and Hope's Embellish software, you do not have to distinguish between I want to work with artwork or design formats. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my desktop, because I had saved that file on my desktop, or I could have gone to downloads. But there's the Detroit Tigers logo folder. So I'm going to open it up, and what I want is this SVGD, and I'm going to open it. So this is what the boys have on the front of their Dragons uniform. So now I went by Tractor Supply, got a black t-shirt for $7.99. If I had bought one through the team, if I had thought enough time, I probably would have. But now it's the day before the game, the night before, and they're playing the Little League World Series. So I desperately needed a grandmother shirt. So I went ahead and downloaded this, and then I looked at what size should this be. So I checked, and on the front of a shirt, if this is all you have, you want this to be 5 inches tall. So I came over here to my transform, and I made this height 5 inches. Make sure your maintain aspect ratio is selected. I'm going to go to 5, and I'm going to apply. So now here I've got my D. Now I'm going to use heat transfer vinyl. So what do I need? I need to mirror image this. Now if you're not sure what to do, because sometimes I get confused between vinyl, heat transfer vinyl, sometimes I'm off on these. So I always go into File, Save to Cut. Now when I get to Save to Cut, I'm going to tell it I'm cutting it on a Brother Scan and Cut. Now I happen to have one of the new ones that has the auto blade, but if you have any other cutter, you want to let Hope tell you the settings that you want to use on your digital cutter. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say this is heat transfer vinyl. Now when I go to next, it's going to tell me what settings I should be putting it on. Now since I have an auto, I have the new Scan and Cut DX, it checks the depth and cuts automatically. I don't have to do this. But what's very interesting is application instructions, mirror image design, place shiny side down on the mat. So make sure you read these because it gets confusing. So now I know I want the shiny side down on the mat so that it will cut through and I will have that contact paper that I'm using to press this on with. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, of course you can go to the application video and Hope will explain that in detail. What's the shiny side? You want the dull side looking at you, shiny side down, so that you cut this properly, and you must mirror image it. So now that I know those things, I'm going to go ahead and cancel this, and I can mirror image it in all of our digital cutters. But why not mirror image it now? So now I've got a mirror image, and I will go ahead and file, save to cut. I'm going to go to next. I'm going to next, finish, and I am going to save it as my Dragons D. Well, I can't spell dragon, but there we go. Okay, so I have my Dragons D going for me, and I'm going to save this as an SVG file. So there it is. There's my logo. Now I'm going to save that. And now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to close this. And now on the back of the shirt, I wanted it to say Quinn, and I wanted a number 7. So I'm going to come right back in here. I'm going to click on my T for text. I'm going to left mouse click, and I want to use applique number 5. So I'm going to type Quinn in all capitals. That's how I did it. And I want this to be 3 inches high. And I'm going to apply that. Now I did check, and you should put, if you're putting the name on the back, it should be 2 inches down from the neckline. So I know exactly where my placement's going to go. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to pull this in closer. I don't like the spacing on this. So remember, we've got full control on the spacing. Now this is going to be a chartreuse. It's going to be a bright green, and it's going to be on the back of a black shirt. So I've got enough space in here that it's going to be very apparent that the name is Quinn. Now this is still 11 inches across. I might want that just a little more narrow. So I'm going to pull that in, and I want it more like, there we go, a little under 9. I mean a little over 9. That's perfect because, you know, my back, I'm a little bit large, so I don't want it to look like a little tiny dot in the middle, but I don't want it to go shoulder to shoulder either. So now that I've got that, I'm going to start with a new piece of text. I'm going to click on. Now I'm going to stay with this same applique, only I want the number 7 because his number happens to be 7. And I'm going to put this at 5 inches tall. Apply. So now what I'm going to do is I looked in all the stuff, and it tells me I want about 2 inches between, or about 1.5 inches between the bottom of the Quinn and the 7. And so this is for the back of my shirt. So I want to go ahead and I'm going to turn on my grid, and I want this grid, I'm going to right mouse click, inches, I want to see what my grid settings are, and I want these to be 1 inch. I want this to be 1 inch and 1 inch. And that way I have this grid to help me. I'm going to zoom out. This grid will help me make sure, wow, what in the world? I'm in inches. Let's see what I did. Inches. Let's look at grid settings. Well, it says it's 1 inch by 1 inch. And I don't see how this can possibly be an inch. Because my 7, I already said, is several inches, is 3 inches tall. Something's crazy. What have I done? I'm in inches. Okay, we're going to agree on that. I'm going to go ahead and go to grid settings again. And I want this to be 1 inch by 1 inch. Okay, we've got that. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing, guys. Oh, there. Well, nope. That doesn't work either because, oh, I see what it is. These are the, I'll show you what is happening. Let's go back to grid settings. These are every 10 lines. That's what this is every 10 inches it's putting up this because I haven't told it. Well, it is told. Let me give my grids as solid lines. And let me change my color to white. Maybe I can't see it because of the color of my background. These are all things that, yes, they could happen to you. So let's just see what we can do here. And let's go ahead and nope. I'm just looking for, here it is. Nope, that's my run. I need to be able to see my screen settings here, and I'm afraid that my let me see. Grid settings. Oh, I changed the color in here, that's why. Okay, now, let's see. There we go. That was our problem. These lines are every 10 inches because that's what we've put on this. Let's go back and look. So if you're ever in this challenge, you can see. I'm going to go back into grid settings. Now, I want my horizontal and vertical lines to be every inch. Over here, I've told it to give me a grid every 10 inches. So the problem is my vertical lines were not a color I could see because I had gray chosen. So I could choose blue, I could choose white, anything that's not matching the background. So now you can see I want to put this 7. I'm going to go ahead and select the 7. Now that we've spent a lot of time working on that, but it happens to all of us, so I'd rather us work out what I can't figure out together rather than leave you on your own and it happened to you at some time. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn by selecting this and getting my T for text, I've decided I want this a little farther apart than it is. It looked better with the white background. There we go. I like that a little better. Put a little more spacing. Now I'm going to line up the 7 with the eye, and we can use all of we can get fancy, select it all, and I can come use alignment tools. And I want to align the centers. Okay, so now it's lined up. My 7's lined up under Quinn. It's the right way. Now we're going to cut this out of heat transfer vinyl. So what did we just learn? We got to mirror image this stuff. So I'm going to mirror image, and then I'm going to file. Whoops, I didn't need new. Let's go back, come back here. I'm going to go to File, Save to Cut. Now, again, I'm going to use an automatic blade, but if you aren't, And if you need to understand how to do it, make sure you go to Heat Transfer Vinyl. Next, now if you're using a Brothers Scan and Cut, it's telling you the blade depth should be 1.5 to 1.75. You should be using a standard blade. Your cut speed should be 3. Your blade pressure should be 0. And the number of passes 1. Now special instructions tell you, remember you need to mirror image your design so that it shows in the correct direction. So when you're using things that you don't do a lot, make sure you pick out the correct product that you're using and let hope help guide you. It saves a lot of wasted vinyl. So now when I go next, it's finishing, okay? Again, she's asking you, did you mirror image your design? Did you remember that you need to mirror image it so it's correct direction? Okay, so we went through that. And it's going to tell you on the page before, it's going to tell you to make sure that you place the shiny side down on the mat. So that's real important to follow these rules. Next, and finished. Now I'm going to put Quinn and 7. So I'm going to save that as an SVG. Save. So now I'm going to put these on a jump drive, put them in my digital cutter, in my Scan and Cut, and cut these out. It took me about 15 minutes, and I had a Dragon D on the front, I had Quinn and 7 on the back, and I had other parents asking, well, where did you get your shirt? I said, oh, I just made it to come to the game. Oh, can you make those? I mean, they were just couldn't believe, because they're paying a lot of money for these shirts, that it was that simple, and it took me 15 minutes to whip out a dragon shirt. Now, I will tell you, it took me longer than 15 minutes to find the doggone D. But once I found that D artwork, it was a piece of cake. So know what prize you have owning Craft and Cut. There's so much you can do, and with sports times and making shirts and stuff, it's great. Make sure you buy heat transfer vinyl for this. Now Hope, the Embellish line, has just come out with all kinds of cool heat transfer foil in really pretty colors. So that's also an option. So I look forward to seeing you again next week. Hope you have a great week. Bye-bye.